Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, the 17th chapter. Beginning at the 11th verse. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through the region between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered a village, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called out, saying, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." When he saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. He prostrated himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, "Were not 10 made clean, but the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well." Here ends the reading of the gospel.
Brothers and sisters in Christ, grace to you and peace from God and from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Amen. Get up and go. Your faith has made you well. What part of this gospel text is this man's faith? It ends with this line, "Get up and go, your faith has made you well." What part of this man's faith, what thing has he done that makes him well? This Samaritan. What's that? What's that? He thanked him. His saying thanks is his faith. Okay? It's a tricky question. It's a tricky statement. Because there were 10, but only one returned. We only hear of the one that says thanks. And again, we hear this faith word that we've talked about the last kind of 2 Sundays. The last Sunday it was with faith the size of a mustard seed. We can do great things will happen. We can say to a tree, "Prove yourself," and go to the ocean, and it will do it, right? If we just have faith the size of the mustard seed. And today we hear the story of 10 lepers who know to keep their distance because they are unclean. And the scriptures that they read tell them you are not to go near people. So they go as far as they feel comfortable according to their faith and say, "Teacher, Master, have mercy on us." All 10 of them say it. All 10 of them say, "Teacher, Master, have mercy on us." And Jesus responds and says, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." He doesn't touch them. He doesn't do what we've come to know of Jesus in other healing stories. He doesn't spit in the dirt and make mud and rub it on their sores so they fall off like he does to restore the sight to the blind man. He doesn't go near them as far as we know from this story. He says, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." And it's on their way there that they are healed. It doesn't happen when they get there. It happens on the way. And they realize it when the one returns. And we automatically think because this one returns and says thanks, he is the only faithful one. Right? Now, there's context clues here. We've talked about this as well. What does it say what does it tell us of this man? Where was he from? What was he? Samaritan. He was a Samaritan. It makes it clear. It gives that fact about this man its own sentence. Right? Almost like a reminder to tell us this was a foreigner. This was a guy who, on top of having leprosy, therefore meaning he shouldn't go near people, he was also a Samaritan and should not be talking to this Jewish man, Jesus. And when we realize that this was a Samaritan man, we figure out more about this story. No wonder he turned back and didn't go and show himself to the priest, because he wouldn't have been welcomed. They were on their way way to see a Jewish priest. He would not have been welcomed because of being a Samaritan. Now, looking a little bit, you'll find that most villages probably had their own priest, and he could have stopped anywhere else. He could have stopped he could have gone to his own village, which probably would have had its own priest. And Samaritans, they did abide by Jewish law, but just wouldn't have been welcome in Jerusalem. Okay? They did abide by Jewish law, so they would have their own priests. But he doesn't go to his own priest. Who does this man come to, and what does he do? He comes back to Jesus, but what does he do? As they went there made clean, then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. And he threw himself at Jesus' feet and gave thanks that he was a Samaritan. It's funny to me that is where that line comes. It comes after it tells us he's returned. It comes after it says he gave thanks and praise to God in a loud voice. It comes after it tells us that he threw him at Jesus' feet. So it puts this man at the feet of this Jewish teacher and then tells us he shouldn't have been there. Isn't that interesting? And what does Jesus do? Being the devout Jew that he is, what does he do to this Samaritan man who should not be at his feet? He commends him for his faith. Now, as humans, as people, we automatically think of the other nine. We think, what a bunch of jerks. Because we don't hear their story. We don't hear what happened to them. We just know that they didn't come back to Jesus. Jesus didn't say, go and when you're healed and not halfway there, come back. He said, go and show yourselves to the priest. And this was, again, according to the Jewish laws that they would have been accustomed to. Because it's the Jewish laws that says they are unclean. It is the Jewish laws that says with their leprosy they should not be with people and touching people, for they might make other people unclean. They might make other people different. And so he says, go and show yourselves to the priests so they can deem you clean according to Jewish law. But this Samaritan, when he's on his way, discovers that he has been made clean and comes back. He comes back to the only teacher of the law that he knows that will accept him. He comes back to Jesus, who is his connection to God. And it is when he returns to Jesus that he gives thanks and praise for God in a loud voice. And it is when he gets back to the only preacher and teacher of the Jewish law that he knows that will accept him that he throws himself on the ground and gives thanks. And Jesus tells him, yeah, he asks, what about the other nine? He was probably hoping they would have figured it out too. Maybe. But he says this one. He says, you, get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well. Wouldn't it be nice to wake up to that every day? Like if your alarm clock could be a booming voice, but that's what we assume Jesus and God have. But if it could be a voice saying, get up and go on your way, your faith has made you well. Instead, we get annoying alarms. Olivia was playing with Kayla's alarm clock. And yesterday at 6 o'clock in the morning, we heard this annoying and what in the world is going on? I could have really gone for a get up and go, make a pot of coffee. Your faith has made you well. Instead, these things that wake us up from our slumber, literal and metaphorical, are usually more alarming than get up and go. You've been given this faith. Get up and go. You've been given this God. Get up and go. You've been given Jesus, who makes you you well. The Samaritan man is not the first foreigner, is not the first different person that we hear of Jesus doing ministry to, for, and with. We hear it all the time. More often than not, Jesus is doing ministry with the people that society has said, you don't go near them. And I almost wonder if Jesus sees this Samaritan at his feet as almost a little embarrassed. Perhaps a little embarrassed, perhaps a little worried about the fact that he's at the feet of a Jewish teacher as a Samaritan man. So Jesus gives him this affirmation of faith. Get up and go. You have God. You have myself. And in that, no matter what it is, you have been made well. We need that message. We need that message. We need the message of the Samaritan man. That for even that foreigner, for even that person that was different, unallowed, not welcome, his faith has made him well. People of God, we have this faith. We have this God who says to us today, get up and go. Your faith, your God, Jesus for you, has made you well. Get up and go. Amen.